see. Hey, Peter, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
You can hear okay?
You sound good.
Or do I need to get some ear plugs, headphones?
I'm sorry?
Do I need to get some headphones on?
You sound good. I can hear you clearer than the last time.
Huh.
There's no static.
Okay, let me. There you go. Can you say a few words?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah, it was my speakers that weren't on. Okay. Yep. So yeah, how are things going for you?
Pretty good. Work's keeping me busy, and I think I'm doing pretty well so far in the course.
Yeah, it looks like it. And, feeling like your group's being good and everything. They're behaving themselves.
They're behaving themselves, but it takes a bit to get the conversation going and getting the question done.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to get that going. But it's
Yeah,
early morning, so I wouldn't surprise me why.
that's well said. Yeah, yeah. You took the early slot. That's tough. So is the I think the appeal period for exam 2 is over, correct? I think we're over this week.
Can you say it again? You broke up that time.
Sorry about that. I think the appeal period for exam 2 is completed. Is that about right?
Correct.
Number 2. Okay. So I'll grade those tonight, and then I think we'll be on to number, exam 3.
Yeah.
How did you feel like exam 2 went for you?
I was really shocked afterwards. I didn't do at all as well as I thought I did.
Yeah,
so
that's a tough one. Two is a tough one.
But I peeled my heart out to it. So I mean, well, I'll see after you grade it. All in all, I'm still pushing forward.
Yeah, that'll help. Your peel will help. So I wouldn't worry too much. Good. And how about the other assignments, the amicus briefs and things like that, the presentations and stuff?
I've been doing very well in each of those. I mean, I've been trying to keep it to a page, the layout that you had in the example one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been very helpful just following that layout as I do each of the appeals.
Okay, good. So that's good. Yeah, I think that's more fair than forcing something much longer than that. So good. Anything else that you need at this time then?
Well, I did have a question about these gatherings. I mean, is it going to be changing like in the morning and afternoon every week?
We could. How do you feel about it? I keep getting mixed signals from the class. I mean, probably 2/3 of the class don't care one way or the other. They don't care to even show up or even comment about it at all. So I don't know. It seems like a lot of people aren't giving themselves the point. They're just not. They're deciding not to show up, and that's fine. So I'd rather cater to the people that, like yourself and others, that want to care to come, but I don't want to hold it. The people that come to it say, hey, can you mix it up a little bit? Do one in the morning, maybe most of them in the afternoon, later on in the week, and then early in the week, and just change it up. But then when I do that, then they say, well, now we can't rely on you. And so I'm not really sure what would work best for you all. You have any ideas?
You broke up at that last second. Can you say it again?
Yeah, like, do you have any ideas on, is it better to have like a set office hour every week, that just caters to the people that really want to come? Or should I keep trying to just kind of move it around like some people want, in the hopes of kind of hitting different groups of people?
I mean, personally, for myself, I would prefer one specific time because I work during the day, a full-time job. So, I mean, time I can guarantee I can show up usually every week. Trying to get people in the mornings and at different times. So,
Hmm.
and people are far different from my own situation. So that's my own personal thought.
Okay, yeah. It seems like for most people, this time of day, like something, say 5 o'clock Mountain Time, seems to work best. But does that sound about
Yeah, I'm on the
right?
Pacific Coast. This is a ideal time for me.
Okay. So I may just start trying to. Is there a certain day during the week that's best? Like I hate Fridays, but somebody said, "Why don't you try a Friday?" And then nobody showed up except you. So
Uh, Probably early on in the week. I would assume Tuesday or Wednesday would be really good.
okay,
But
okay.
yeah, that's me.
So maybe I'll try to just start setting it same time, you know, 4 o'clock Pacific on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll wait until some people really argue, yell at me, and then we'll go from there. Next week might be hard just because of Halloween, but I might be able to do like Wednesday at 4 o'clock into the first. Um, but well, actually, I think I'm in the jail ministry. I think I'm working in the jail that day, but I'll see what I can do to kind of maybe standardize it a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hold you around if there's nothing else. I mean, do you have anything else
Well,
I can help you with at all? I really appreciate you coming.
well, I didn't know if you were going to give any kind of hints for exam 3. I was going to bring that up today in
Oh
your
yeah,
hang. If you had any hints at
sure.
all, I mean, I would more than happily take it before I get ready for that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do some hinting then.
For anyone's watching
So
too.
yeah, if anybody's gonna look at the recording, they'll get the hint, the benefit of the hint. So actually, what I'm gonna do as a special, gift to you and anybody watching is I'm gonna try to open the exam because I just finished it or chose the questions, I believe, and I'm going to read a couple of questions, and I think it'd be fair. I don't think I'll do more than maybe one or two, but I do think it'd be fair to you and then anybody that reads it to just get a feel for what's on there. And we can talk about it a little. I'm not going to give you the answer, but we can talk about. You'll probably be able to garner the answer from our discussion. But let me see if I can bring it up here. Um, I'm first going to give you and those watching this an idea of what high concepts. I've taken probably two questions from each high concept area from, so that should help you. Um, and then we'll open up one or two questions. How about that? Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if this will do this. Okay, here we go. So um, right. Okay. All right, so computer's being slow here.
Alone, mine's pretty slow. I think there's a big lag between when you speak and when I speak to you.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Okay. Okay, still hanging in there then?
I am.
Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the main areas of the exam 3, and there's probably going to be, let's say, 2 questions from each of these areas generally. All right. And I won't give you any more than this because I think it'll give too much away. But the first area is the UCC Article 2, terms and definitions. So what's the UCC Article 2 about? The next general category is definition of merchants under the UCC. The next area is general definition and application of non-conforming goods. So, you know, you purchase a stereo, it arrives at your house and it's a tiny, you know, box of ducklings or something. Right? What are your rights if it's non-conforming under the UCC? The next general category is risk of loss. This one's interesting because of decades of you know, train travel in the 1800s and then 1900s, when, you know, even going back to the Pony Express and before, when, you know, I would sell you, I don't know, let's say I'd sell you a box of hammers or nails, and you would buy it from me and you'd send me the money, and I'd have your money, and I would put that box of nails on a train, and then the train would go down the track and the train would fall off the track and the nails would spill all over, and the Native Americans would steal the nails, and I'd say, look, I put them on the train. So I guess, Peter, you're out of luck because, hey, I put them on the train, right? And you'd say, well, I never got them. I'll say, well, not my problem, because our contract said that I will deliver nails. So I delivered nails to the train and it just didn't happen to make it to you. Not my problem. No. And so risk of loss, it was really important that the UCC started hammering down, no intended, on who's responsible for the loss if the train falls off the tracks, or the horse dies on the way, or the car breaks down, the delivery truck, whatever. Who pays for what? Who's responsible to insure it out of the 2 parties? And That way the courts don't have to mess around with poorly drafted contracts between parties like you and I. I may be a very sophisticated, sure, you may be, you may be doing something for your grandma and she may not know what she's signing. So anyway, that's that. The next one, Maple Farms case. Maybe one or two questions about the Maple Farms case. The next area is UCC Article 2, bona fide purchaser. There's an actual bona fide purchaser under Article 2 UCC. There may be one or two questions under the Webster case. Next general area is acceptance. Remember, offer plus acceptance equals contract. I may offer you to build your house, but if you don't accept it, do we have a contract? So a couple of questions on what does it mean to accept? Did you accept when you started to nod your head and then your wife grabbed your head and shook your head for you or something? What does acceptance mean? Maybe a question or two on battle of the forms. So, you purchase a box of hammers from me for your for your manufacturing company, and you send me a form that says, I will hereby purchase your hammers under the following conditions. You will indemnify me. Your hammers will all be made of a certain type of steel. The wood will never crack. They'll be made of certain type of balsam, oak wood, not maple. And the hammer, will work for 29 years and no less. And I send back the hammers to you with my contract saying, we've accepted your contract and money with these terms, that we've sold them to you under these terms. Nope, the hammers are made only of iron, not steel. The handle was made out of maple wood, not oak. It will never be sealed properly because we are cheap and we made them in China, and you get this battle of the forms problem where you're trying to make me agree to your form and I'm trying to get you to agree to my form so that if we ever end up in court, I can say my form won. That's an important problem that big companies have when they fight each other over whose terms control the deal. Important for business people and lawyers. The next area, one or two questions under consumer protection. What about the old lady that Peter just sold a brand new, Mercedes to? She drives off the lot and the steering wheel falls off and she drives into a ditch and kills herself. What kind of rules are there around consumer protection? Was that, hey, she signed the deal. It was as is car. It was a used car. I mean, the fact that the steering wheel fell off is not Peter and Dan used car company's problem. Consumer protection. The UCC decided, hey, we're not going to. There's going to be lemon laws. We're going to put some things in place that don't allow Peter and Dan to run a shyster business like that. So there's certain basic terms we have to abide by. Next one or two questions under security interest. So what's a security interest? Peter really wants a loan and the bank says, okay, well, what are you going to do at the loan for? Well, I really want the loan to buy, 29 bicycles so I can start a bike shop. All right, what are you going to put down for it? What's your security interest for those bikes? Well, I don't know. How about my house? I'll give you the equity in my house. So, my family will be destitute if my bike shop doesn't work, but that'll be my security interest. My paper equity mortgage, my lien against my house, or some other security interest that will allow a bank or someone with money to give you money so you or collateral so you can start up your bike business. So what's a security interest? What can it look like? What are the terms around it? Couple more. What's an appropriate chapter of bankruptcy? Different kinds of bankruptcy, right? I mean, Chapter 11, chapters 13, chapter 7 are the ones we hear mostly about. But one of them is for individuals, one is for companies, and one is just simply bankruptcy protection. You know, leave me alone for a while. I'm a big airline and I can pay my bills if you'll just quit coming after me for so long. Just let me get ahead of it. You know, a bad tornado blew up half my planes, so just give me about 5 months to get ahead, you know, to do some flights that give me some money, and then I'll pay everybody off. So bankruptcy protection chapter versus actual bankruptcy of company versus individual bankruptcy. Know which one of the three is which chapter in the UCC. Chapter 7, 11, or 13. A couple more. Exemptions. You know, what's an exemption? What can be exempted from the UCC? Priority is another one that might have one or two questions. So, you know, Dan goes bankrupt and Peter, you know, was one of his creditors. Peter, you know, gave Dan a personal loan for $500,000. Everything Peter had. His good buddy Dan, you know, went out and blew it all in Vegas and then filed bankruptcy. Where does Peter stack up against Dan's Visa credit cards? You know, the creditors that, you know, Dan's business have. Maybe there's Dan's, you know, ex-wife and 13 other creditors that all want to get at Dan's throat. Where does Peter stack up, and where in the priority order does Peter come so that he gets something back out of that 500 grand, if anything? Very important in bankruptcy, where you fit in priority. Couple more, might be a problem or two on the Corona case. And the last two are creditors' rights, and maybe one or two questions on bankruptcy discharge. So what does it mean after that 1 year you have to wait to actually be discharged in bankruptcy, and then wait those glorious, you know, 7 years to get your full credit back? And what does that discharge mean in bankruptcy, to have those debts taken off? You know, does your student loan get discharged? What about your tax to the IRS? All of the back taxes that you owe. Are there certain ones that are exempted from bankruptcy? So you can see there's a good half of it is, you know, bankruptcy related. The other half, UCC, Article 2. That's kind of the way it's shaping up.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps. And then
it does.
Okay, good. So on the questions then, you know, one question, I'll just throw it out to you, and then I'm not going to give you the answers, but this will be on the test. Thomas entered into a contract for Henry. Okay, so Thomas is over here, Henry's here. Thomas enters into a contract for Henry to sell him a rare antique engine. It may be the only remaining one in the world. Okay, it's the only remaining antique engine in the world. Henry, the seller of the engine, illegally refuses to deliver the engine to Thomas, the buyer. Thomas doesn't want the money back. He wants to sue Henry to have the court force Henry to turn over the engine. Thomas is asking the court for A, an equitable remedy, B, a precedent solution, C, liquidated damages, or D, a legal remedy. So you can see it's not it doesn't say right out, you know, specific performance, which would be the answer under the contract. It's what it's asking for is this an equitable remedy, a precedent solution, liquidated damages, or a legal remedy? And, you know, I think a lot of people would be able to eliminate probably those middle two ones and get to the meat of it, which is this an equitable remedy? Is this a merciful solution from a court? Or is this a legal remedy from a court? And that's what you've got to decide out of the two. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. 50-50. Okay. Next question I'll give you, and then I'll probably stop here because I think this is probably enough. Heidi signs a semester-long lease for an apartment in Rexburg, Idaho. The lease states that Heidi must pass certain cleaning checks, so checkups on her cleaning of the apartment. Heidi's apartment is a filthy mess, which she never cleans. Heidi doesn't think the apartment complex can do anything about her refusal to clean the mess. Heidi, A, is wrong because the law that applies in this circumstance is procedural law. B, is correct because there is no law requiring cleaning checks. C is wrong because the contract she signed is considered private law and is enforceable in court. Or D is wrong because the contract she signed is part of a local city ordinance which is enforceable. So again, out of those four, you can probably start to eliminate, you know, is wrong because the only law that applies in certain circumstances is procedural law. Is right because there is no law requiring cleaning checks. Who cares if there's a law requiring cleaning checks? That, you know, people don't have to have a law requiring everything. So then you end up with D or C or D. Is wrong because the contract she signed is considered private law and enforceable in court. Or D is wrong because the contract she signed is part of a local ordinance that's enforceable by Rexburg. You have to decide, is cleaning mandated by Rexburg, or is it between her and her apartment complex that the court will say, hey, that's a contract that we want to enforce because it's a contract she openly entered into. Does that help? So are we good, Pete? Does that help you, Peter?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I mean, it gives me a good idea of the type of questions and how be. It's gonna be 25 questions again, right?
Yeah, 25 questions. Probably one or two of each of those areas that I mentioned. So,
okay.
and I just listed questions 1 and 2. I think those will be actually the one and first and second ones that'll be on it, unless they mix. Usually I don't like to mix them up. I like to keep it in order of your book so that you can just kind of go through. Some professors like to mix it up, and I just think that's cruel and unusual punishment. So. So they're hard enough as they are. So just look for the subtle nuances. Is that cleaning thing something that Moscow or Rexburg, you know, is now Moscow and is requiring everything, you know, by the law? Or is it a private contract that the courts will help enforce because two people that have brains entered into something that is not, you know, selling heroin, but is something that we agree as a society we're going to let the courts enforce for us. And that's the way I want you to be thinking about it as you enter that, look at that second question.
Okay.
All right. Anything else then?
That's all that I really had to
Okay.
answer my questions.
Okay, good. I'll get to work on those appeals then and get my equitable mercy hat on then, and we'll go to work. All right. Well, you have yourself a good night. Okay, Peter. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.